everyone, my name's Kaitlyn, also sometimes known by my Instagram handle, which is Prescription Fitness MD, and I am one of your very proud Matcha Resident ambassadors. Today, I'm going to be breaking down a question that I get asked very often, and that is not only how did I successfully match, but how did I successfully match into a good quality university program that I truly wanted to be at? While I may never know the exact answer to this question, I do have a pretty good idea of what I did year by year to award me with this opportunity. And so I'm gonna break it down for you guys based off of year of medical school in terms of what I think I did to make me successful on match day. In my first year of medical school, the thing that I did that I think contributed the most to my success was that I took the time to learn how to study, and I made sure that I knew absolutely every single piece of information inside and out. This is important because it's not only going to lay the foundation for the rest of your basic science years, but it's going to lay the foundation for your second year of medical school when you learn how the body works the wrong way, when you start to learn pathology and pathophysiology, which are the two most heavily tested subjects on the Step 1 exam. You can't have a good understanding of how the body works the wrong way, aka disease processes, if you don't understand how the body works the right way in the first place. So taking the time to understand every little bit of information and understanding everything completely solidly, I think is what contributed to my success the most from my first year of medical school. During my second year of medical school, I continued to focus on learning the information because I truly believe that this is the most valuable thing you can be doing to enhance your application while you're in basic sciences. Unfortunately, Step 1 is weighted super heavily in terms of selecting applicants for interviews, and I knew this, so I took learning very seriously. However, in your second year of medical school, you have a much better idea of how to study. You have a much better idea of how long it's going to take you to do tasks such as complete assignments or get through a lecture when you're post-reading. Because of this, you're going to be able to plan your days a lot better. This is going to leave you with some spare time that you didn't necessarily have when you were a first year medical student. So during my second year, I really focused on learning the material, as I've mentioned, and also starting to get some volunteer experiences for my residency application. I think the thing that helped me the most was that I decided to participate in volunteer activities that I was truly passionate about and that I wasn't just participating in to put them on my application to enhance it. For example, I'm very passionate about primary care, so being on a Caribbean island where the healthcare isn't the greatest was a great opportunity for me to get involved in a lot of the clinics that were set up for the people of the island to come and get healthcare that they don't typically have access to. This is something that I'm really passionate about, and so I participated in as many of these clinics as I possibly could. The other thing is that I really enjoyed spending time with the children, and so I taught swimming lessons, and I also volunteered at the orphanage, which was a really rewarding experience and was something that I was very passionate about. In addition to enhancing my application from volunteer experiences, I also tutored a lot during my second year of medical school, probably 6 to 8 hours a week, which is about every day or multiple times a day. Not only was this great in terms of enhancing my application, but I absolutely loved teaching, and that is largely where I learned that I really loved academics. It was also really beneficial because I was constantly reviewing information from the first year of medical school, which was helping me prepare for the Step 1 exam while I was in the second year of medical school. So not only learning, but also tutoring others really contributed to me succeeding on my Step 1 exam, which is something that I think really contributed to me matching at a really great program. During my third year of medical school, the two things that I think contributed the most to me successfully matching on match day was that I took shelf examination prep very seriously, and I really focused on getting good letters of recommendation and just doing my clinical duties very well. In terms of letters of recommendation, it is very easy to be an average student and get an average letter of recommendation. The problem with this is that every program director is reading thousands of average letters of recommendation every single application cycle. If you really want a letter of recommendation that's going to stand out and set you apart from others, you have to work for it. You have to be willing to come in early and you have to be willing to stay late. For me, I asked a lot of questions. I did a lot of self-research. I embarrassed myself willingly many times on rounds getting pimped and also presenting when I didn't really know what I was doing, because this is a way that I felt my attendings would be able to gauge where I was at the beginning of my rotation and see how I progressed. So I was just not afraid to, fail in front of my attendings, which can be very intimidating and embarrassing, but it's something that I think really helped me. And the fact that I was essentially fearless in that pursuit is, I think, something that helped me stand out a little bit. And it also gave my attendings an opportunity to see how far I've come, which allowed them to write better comments in my letter of recommendation. In terms of shelf exam preparation, I took every shelf exam very seriously, as if it were a mini CK exam, because it's essentially what it is. It is a mini CK exam. They're retired NBME questions from previous Step 2 CK exams, and they're administered by the NBME. You also take them at a Prometric center, so it simulates the environment of Step 2 CK very well. Also, by learning the information very well the first time around, it makes dedicated study for CK so much easier. This is going to be even more important in the coming years than it was when I was applying, because now Step 1 is transitioning from a numerically scored exam to a pass-fail exam, meaning that the filter is going to be Step 2 CK and all of the weight is going to be on this exam. In addition, I did very well on Step 1, but I wanted to be able to show improvement and show a positive trend to program directors who were looking at my application. So I set my goal for Step 2 CK to be 10 points higher than my Step 1. I worked really hard throughout my entire third year and throughout dedicated to achieve this, and I was able to do 10 points higher. Program directors do like to look at trends. So if you do have a lower Step 1 score, shoot for a very high Step 2 CK score. If you have a good Step 1 score, just shoot for a better Step 2 CK score to show that you have a positive trend. While I do believe that everything that I did during my first through third year of medical school helped me match in the end, I truly believe that everything I did in my first through third year of medical school is what helped me get interviews at really great programs. But what I think helped me successfully match at a really great program was the way I interviewed. So how did I interview? Well, there are sort of two options. You could either tailor your interview question answers to the specific program you're going to. This is a cardiology heavy program. They accept a lot of cardiology fellows. They have a very good cardiovascular institute. You can tailor all of your answers. Why do you want to come to this program? I love cardiology. You can totally say that, but you could also remain true to yourself. For example, if you're interested in GI, say you're interested in GI. This was the approach that I took. The first few interviews I had, I was very nervous about the fact that I was going into a room with a bunch of people who had an idea of what fellowship they wanted to go into. I wasn't even interested in doing fellowship. And so for the first two interviews, I said that I was interested in rheumatology. While I am interested in rheumatology, I don't really have any plans of doing a fellowship. I just think that it's particularly interesting. I'm interested in primary care, and no one else that I was interviewing with seemed to be interested in primary care. So the first two interviews, I felt like I needed to say what everyone else was saying, but I feel as though my more successful interviews were honestly when I was being very true to myself. I had some really great conversations with program directors and attendings who were very interested in primary care. And as the interview season went on, I realized that this actually set me apart. I also strongly believe that when you talk about what you're actually interested in, instead of faking it, people can sense that. People can tell that you're interested in something when you're conveying your passion about it. If you're faking it, you can try and fake passion behind it, but it's never as genuine as when you're actually passionate about something. So the fact that I remained true to myself and was very open about the failures that I've had is something that I've gotten a lot of positive feedback on from interviewers and from program directors. How did you wind up at a Caribbean medical school was a very common question that I got asked. And at no point did I say, well, I just wanted to be able to start sooner rather than later, and there are multiple enrollment dates, because honestly, that wasn't true. The truth is, I bombed the MCAT twice, and I let every interviewer who asked me that question know that, because my medical school grades show that I've come such a long way from undergrad and from the MCAT that the MCAT wasn't even relevant anymore. And I actually got really great feedback on this. And so between being open about my failures and remaining true to myself and just acting like my normal self instead of faking who I am on interview day, I think these are the two things that put me where I truly feel as though I was meant to be. The fact that it is a very great university program is a huge pro, but I honestly, now that I've started residency, I feel as though I am where I belong. And I think that's something that's important. You don't want to just match. You want to match somewhere you're going to be happy, and you want to match somewhere that's going to align with your long-term goals. So that's all I have in terms of how I believe that I successfully matched into a really great program that I really wanted to be at. I hope that you guys have a better understanding of how I got where I am, and I also hope that there are some takeaways from this video that you can take when you are going through the application process and the interview season this year. Best of luck!